And just like that, we're back. As we fly the skies of Cologne, a wonderful view there, but we're back in the studio to continue the hunt for players to play at the season finals here at the World Championship Series. Joining me on the desk this time is Sam and Johan.
You should have said to continue the hunt for a 15 minutes plus game.
That is the way today is going. We've got lots of fast games and had lots of fast games, and that seems, I don't know about you, but I feel like we're probably going to be having a lot more of these very short and fast and furious games. I mean, you can look at the bracket and see where we're going. The next match is going to be Kane versus iAsonu, and I have a feeling this is going to be fast and furious as well. Of course, it is Group F. It makes perfect sense. And then Sansta versus 4GG will be our fourth match before we get to the deciders. Why do you think it's been such a fast day?
ZvZ, it can go either way. You can either have the long, drawn-out games, or you can either have the fast, explosive games. And I guess we've had the fast, explosive games.
You have to be saying Z versus Z, man. Come on, don't go
Z
there.
versus Z, Z versus Z.
Z versus Z, Z versus Z.
Okay.
That's what we say, British people, after all. You agreeing with Sam here, I guess? It's just the nature of the matchups we've got today.
Well, I mean, we saw ZvT as well, though. And actually, your prediction was wrong. You say 2-0, so... Just wanted to mention that.
I still got the victor, though.
Yeah, sure, but wrong about the maps.
Okay.
But no, I don't know, like, it seemed like every player, they're just like throwing whatever they've got at their opponents and they kind of hope for the best. And for iAsonu, he just like came up short in the end against a 4G who was much better at the aggression than him. And Kane is funny because like he was supposedly going to do, I hear a lot of people saying that he was confident and stuff. I saw a bunch of posts on Team Liquid as well, or even he like seemed confident, like in the way that we saw him going around. But in his games, it didn't really show, like didn't go very well at the same time. So it's going to be interesting to see here in this series against iAsonu if, you know, it was just a faux pas against Soundster earlier, or well, is he just playing, I guess, a little bit worse clearly since he retired.
The thing is with iAsonu, you can play fire with fire here. You know, the way that Kane played earlier is the way that iAsonu, a lot of people maybe expect him to do as well.
Yeah, iAsonu is a very aggressive player, just like all of the Chinese players. But he did actually play a series against TLO in the previous WCS season. And he was aggressive in some of those games, yes, but at the same time, he did play that macro style. So it's not like just because he's got that reputation of being an aggressive player, he's going to play that style. He can throw in a bit of everything, and as can Kane. So just because these guys have played aggressive styles in the past and already shown us today from Kane, I don't necessarily think it's going to go that way.
Okay, we'll have to see which way it does go. We do have the map vetoes ready. Both players have selected which maps they want to play on during the quick break here, and we do have them down: Bridgehead, Terraform, and Dash and Terminal there. Is there anything that screams out from either of you looking at this map pool, or is it standard as can be?
It seems like the opposite of the map pool you would have in a Protoss versus anything matchup, even like PvP. Like Dash and Terminal as last map, like I think it was already third map last time when we saw ZvZ, so seems to, I guess, be the standard to some extent. Maybe you'll know better, Bling?
Well, I mean, all of these maps are two-player maps, so I think they want to take out the randomness, that's for sure. Bridgehead, for one, though, I think that's definitely going to be a crazy game. We mentioned it a bit yesterday, the back rocks and the larger style ramp at the front of the main base, so it can definitely lead towards a crazy game. But yeah, I think taking the randomness out of the maps is a good thing.
Is there something that we should be looking out for in this series then? Anything that you're expecting to see? Anything at all? Are we looking at how well Kane can play? Is it how aggressive iAsonu is going to be?
I think Kane needs to recompose himself. I spoke to him a little bit before his series earlier, and he said he was a little bit nervous. His family's watching at home. He's got a bit of pressure on him. Usually he's kind of a relaxed, calm player, but yeah, he's feeling the heat a little bit today. That's
right, you brought that point up. I'm so sorry to Sam's friends and family at home. I was meant to say hello to you. So hello, thanks for watching. I hope he does well in this next match. We're cheering for him secretly as well. Predictions, though. This is where you'll actually see if they're actually cheering for him. Todd, predictions?
I'm going to say Kane wins 2-1.
He is.
I'm going to say Kane wins 2-1.
He is too. It's only because you guys watching at home.
You can't agree with me.
Why?
Yeah, because you're supposed to disagree with me to make things more
We were just
interesting.
speaking about bros.
Yeah, but like not with the
score. bro code, man.
It's all about that. But how you got one wrong yesterday?
I got one wrong,
But today's on fire again,
but
right?
like I said, I took that one for the team. I wanted to.
No, you didn't.
No, but I thought about it after I said that, and I did because I wanted.
So you come back.
Yeah,
And after
I wanted Lilbo to go through, so I took one for the team and got one wrong.
But today he's nailing it. Guys, if you think he's been nailing it as well, join the social media channels, of course, Twitter, #WCS, and Facebook/ESL, of course, YouTube as well, /ESL, for all the content and WCS VODs so far. It's time to go to the commentary team because we're having a blast here. Hope you guys are at home as well, and I'm sure the commentary team will be too.
Thank you very much, guys. You guys are having too much fun. They are giggling and everything over there. All right, let's get into this. It is the elimination match to find out who is going home. It's either going to be Kane or iAsonu. And iAsonu, you know, after starting that series out really strongly there against 4GG, he's got to be looking at this and thinking to himself, you know, Zerg versus Zerg, I've got a lot of experience here. I'm going to try and probably put on my aggressive style once again and see if I can crack the nut that is Kane.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to describe Kane. You know, he's such a solid player, and we didn't get to see his full Ranger play in the previous set, but he's gonna go into rock mode. I'm pretty sure he's gonna play that defensive macro he's known for, and it's gonna be down to IA to crack it. Will he be able to get through? It's a tough one, but I'm very curious to see how this match goes.
We shall find out. Game number 1 is going to be on Bridgehead here between them, of all things, as we will get into game number 1 of this.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
I just noticed that. I was kind of like, I think Kane should have something over his ears right now. But thankfully, they do pause right at the start. Come and put those on. The ESL referee is always on top of those sneaky players trying to take those headphones off.
I just want to put Mickey ears on them for some reason. But anyway, let's get into this. We do have, spawning over to the right-hand side, it's our blue Zerg. It is Kane. Caught Funker off guard by that one. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, Kane looking to try and keep himself alive. And then over to the left-hand side, we have our red Zerg representing Invictus Gaming from China. It is iAsonu. Ah, he's on point. Never mind.
Surprise introductions there. You know, IA's got a lot to fight for, and we've been talking a lot about Kane. We know him, you know, he's such a regular in the English-speaking community as this guy who he's gone back to university. He's studying hard right now. He's maybe not practicing as much, but we've got to remember IA as well. He actually is a full-time student. He tried to go full-time in 2014. It was going okay for him, but he said, I'm going to go back to university, but I'll keep playing on the side. And you know, some of his titles in China, he's actually taken whilst going through the exam period. So this guy is like really a genius when it comes to balancing two things. The fact that he improves and keeps playing at a better level every season is really incredible.
We've had a lot of players in the World Championship Series who were in similar boats, but also attained extremely high highs, which, like, for example, in Europe, for a long time, we had Vortex, who was going through exams and still performing as one of the very tip tops. Also, Welmu was going through exam, like study periods.
Making many top 8s, yeah.
Yes, of course. So there probably, well, it looks like there is a correlation for some players here between just having that kind of, you know, always educated mind and then being able to apply that kind of, you know, just mental fortitude to the game as well.
Yeah, they're the players I always envy because I could never do it, you know. I'm not good at multitasking outside of, you know, one focus at a time, but whenever a player can do that, it is incredible because StarCraft, it takes so much practice to get your mechanics down, to get your instincts down, so you can react to strategies without even thinking. Now, interestingly enough, IA going for a nice economy build here. Going for a hatch gas pool, going to be getting up the fast link speed. Kane on the other side actually opening up a lot safer with that fast pool first.
Yeah, doing what he can over to the other side here. And he will be able to poke on in with his first Overlord, see what's going on, and sees there isn't a queen to rival him, so he gets a good read on that. Likewise, iAsonu saw that this gas over on the other side isn't done just yet. So you can feel a little bit safe about not having to deal with speed, but Kane cancels the gas. Wow. Pretty greedy.
Clever move there. And it doesn't look like IA wants to peek back in, so that cancelled gas is really a fantastic move for Kane in terms of tricking IA and what his favored path is. Of course, not going gas means that Kane can't be aggressive in the near future. It means he's just going to build queens for defense at the start, maybe a spine crawler, and he's just going to go drone crazy and, of course, head towards that roach play, because that's the only strong transition you have off this gasless play. And there's certain ways you can take advantage of that, but without IA realizing just yet, he might not be able to get on top of it.
Greedy play starts out here from Kane, as he will be banking in tons and tons of minerals, trying to transition over later on when he needs it. Usually we end up seeing Zergs taking double gas to try and catch up later on, but after they've already accumulated a great mineral setup to complement them. And on this map, I think you can wall off pretty well, right, against these earlier moves if you have a good creep positioning.
Yeah, and a spine going down for Kane, because he did actually see that, like, you know, there's such a fast link speed. He's coming back in. Did he see that evolution chamber, though? Looks like he did.
Yeah.
That's a really nice scouting pickup. That tells him that IA's plan is to play a ground-based style. You know, you're not going to be going for that fast upgrade and rushing Mutalisks at the same time. So Kane gathering a bit of valuable information, starting to figure out the options that are open to his opponent.
Now, with the +1 starting here for IA, what can Kane do to maybe deal with something like a very strong roach push from IA? He's already got his lair on the way, so that kind of gives us a tip off to probably going up to roach speed as quickly as possible and to try push, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really interesting play. We have seen Zergling speed actually cancelled by IA, so it looks like both players have their minds set on rushing up to roaches. Neither player wants to play the Zergling game, and as I say that, Kane, of course, kicks in his metabolic boost back home, and that's actually going to be able to mean he's probably going to go for a big speedling attack, but oh, if the Zergling can scout, bam, spine crawler headbutts him in the face. That's so valuable, because you see the Zergling speed from Kane, there's a good chance he wants to flood out a large number of speedlings, and if that catches IA unawares, that could do something like shut down his third base, maybe run in and kill a bunch of drones. It could be a really powerful attack.
Yes, it could. The third drone is already on over towards the third location. Likewise, he sees his opponent's third base going down, and it's been such a funny little dance with this speedling upgrade, because now neither player really has a huge opportunity to be able to pressure it. Kane, though, eventually down the line will have an opportunity to pressure it with the 20 Zerglings he's got, but by that time will there be some defensive roaches out to deal with this?
I mean, if you look at IA's attitude, he's got the third down, but he's got as many drones as he wants on 2 bases. He's got those 3 gases mining, so he's going into mass roach production. With such a fast +1 ranged attack, with such a fast lair, he's got what we'd call kind of a natural timing to hit with fast +1 and roach speed.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he won't be able to attack as he does. See, actually, a massive slow Zerglings coming across here from Kane. IA is going to have to block his ramp and defend the hatchery at the same time, but that is a lot of Zerglings coming out from Kane.
Now, this Queen's pretty much sacrificed already here, going out that far to try and get that Overlord. It's going to be up to the roaches to push this away. Should be totally fine, though. That is a lot of roaches here. Needs to make sure that these lings don't try and run past, though, because that's still a lot of lings. They're actually going to try and go for the wraparound here.
But +1 just kicked in. No, Kane realizes that those Zerglings are getting 2-shotted, and he says, oh, damn, the upgrade is already kicked in. I got to get out of there. Pulls out after losing a lot of Zerglings, only bruising a few roaches. And behind this, Kane has only droned up just a little tiny bit on his third, and he's going into roaches because he sees how strong IA's army is. And, oh, looks like his lings are going to go for the run-by.
But how much are they going to get done here? The roach is trying to block them off. A lot of lings went down there for the cost of nothing, and they're going to just start on all the way towards the natural base here, with that Queen positioning itself so well there from IA, making sure that that wasn't going to be the target, couldn't get the wraparound here from the Zerglings, and he will be able to clean up with only a few losses.
Oh, only 2 drones going down so far. The sneaky Zergling still in the back, trying to bruise one down, but it doesn't quite get it done. And now IA's counterattack is heading in. He's saying, I'm going to hit the strongest attack right here, right now. You wasted so much economy and lava on Zerglings. The Queens with the transfuse going down before they can cast it.
Yeah, Roach is coming in from either side here for Kane, as some of them were already moving across the map here, and numbers really kind of thinning. He got himself +1 weapon, so he was able to equalize that up. Maybe the reinforcement point here from Kane can hold on for a little bit whilst pushing this away.
Interestingly, actually building Zerglings to reinforce here is Kane, and they'll be very good for kind of wrapping around these roaches, but in the long fight, they're not going to be cost efficient. They use up a lot of lava and a lot of minerals, but Kane does manage to stabilize for now. Looks like he is going to try and push IA back to his side of the map.
where are the reinforcing roaches from IA? I mean, they were all quite slow to the party in the end. He's killing off some of these Zerglings at the front. They are tanking up well, of course, with Kane having his roach speed as well. Very important that he could pursue on to do a little bit of extra damage and then fend him off.
Yeah, I think really good calculation from IA. He did drone up his third a little bit behind his attack, and because he kept stutter stepping, he never really let Kane's roaches engage, and he just whittled down the Zerglings a few at a time. Oh, gonna come back and actually push over to Kane's side of the map. We can see that there is an army advantage and a total supply advantage here for IA. So he's in the driver's seat right now, and guess what else? He's just gooped the +2 upgrade of Kane.
Not gooped.
Just earlier. So he's actually got his +2 kicking in 10 seconds. Kane's is 150 seconds from finishing. That is 2.5 minutes timing window where IA has a huge upgrade lead on Kane. That +2 range just scales so well in Roach vs. Roach wars.
Let's be honest, you don't want to have a goopy +2. That's for sure.
Man, that's the worst feeling.
Oh, dearie me. But, well, these roaches are going to move on it briefly and don't want to go in there. They don't want to be able to feel the wrath of the concave that Kane would be easily able to set up. So it's just going to be now moving up both of these in parallel with one another, keeping eyes on one another with overlords and things like that and trying to get in. But Kane is well on top of this positioning.
He's on top of it, but he is still down in supply and it's still a very scary position. Those upgrades, Kane needs to have a good defensive position. And look at this. IA's control actually moving in and out, just snagging a roach, pulling back, snagging a roach, pulling back. And it's really putting the pressure on Kane. You can see Kane's mechanics starting to falter a little bit because he knows that he's down on the roach count. He's down on the upgrades. He needs to be so precise with this control, and it's making it very difficult for him.
Goes 1-for-1 trade there, and he's going to try and lure him out of position there whilst just take this fight. It's still +2 weapons against +1 at the moment. Can IA make an advantage out of this? Right now he does in terms of the army supply, but it's going to be the reinforcing roaches that could definitely make the difference here, as Kane will be able to push that away. And IA just has to fall back past a bridge on Bridgehead.
The tactical maneuver there. Oh, nice turnaround from IA. Kane feeling he's got the numbers advantage here, though. He's going to push through. Very ballsy maneuver, taking the worst concave for a bit, but his overwhelming numbers are going to push through, and he will punish IA for that. So a very good calculation from Kane, realizing he had those numbers superior, the superior numbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, IA here, he's got to pull back, but he's still got that supply lead.
The goopy +2 again, not the goopy +2. He still won't be able to have that by the time he goes into this fight once, and now we're back in a position where AI has the reinforcement advantage because those roaches just going to be able to pop out very, very close to the fight. But we have Burrow as well as Tunneling Claws on the way, and in Roach versus Roach, this can make a big, big difference.
Kane might be getting ahead of himself a little bit, though. Look at that supply count. Kane has actually gone up to 65 drones. That's 7 more than IA, whereas IA is just pumping out roaches. You can see it. Those roaches use up a lot of supply, but they're powerful. They're good at fighting, and he has a huge roach lead right now. Look at this. He's coming in here. Kane's army is not ready. It's not in position. Oh, only a few Zerglings there, but IA is just going to poke at the front. Oh, and hitting the third base with those roaches. And then as Kane pulls back, he shoves his way in. Looks like he's going to take this two-pronged fight.
Yeah, trying to do as much damage as possible. At least he got the queen up towards the third base. He's going to try and take out this fight once again. He has +1 armor, so he does have the upgrade advantage here. AI is going to take the supply advantage as well, killing off the majority of these roaches down towards the bottom and reinforcing very, very heavily on through as well. Also, I think there's a few overlords over on the other side of the map that are taking some damage here. They're all over the place at the moment, quite scattered. If he loses some of those and gets supply blocked, then that will be a big, big detriment to him.
Yeah, Kane hanging on by the skin of his teeth right now. Oh, and ever so important Burrow trying to heal up these roaches. Every bit of hit points matters because he is still down about 15 roaches in this fight. The only reason Kane is hanging on is because he has this defender's advantage, and finally his +2 range is kicked in. So he's still down a carapace upgrade, but he's not as far down as he was before. IA is still marauding for position here.
Here we go, Deja Vu, trying to kind of sneak back up here again, but under the watchful eyes of the overlords, it's not that easy. AI, though, just looking to posture. This is the true classic Roach versus Roach in Zerg versus Zerg that we do see from time to time. And we go into the first-person view now of Kane, who is trying to battle back against this. He's up against the wall.
You can see the pressure he's under, but he's getting close to maxed out now. The armies are starting to stabilize in size, and looks like IA wants to shove in on the top while doing the run-by on the south. Once again, organizing that fight. Kane frantic to defend here. Looks like he's got a great split on his roaches.
Yeah, not too bad at all. You can see the Overlord spread to the left-hand side, and his vision in particular that has been able to keep traction on that situation, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to win out the battle up towards the top. There's a lot of roaches still left here for IA, so he needs to get a lot of his reinforcements up there, but I don't think he has that much more left.
Oh, and drones are starting to go down in the top base, and the Roach is barely overwhelming the south side at the time. He's managed to get the reinforcements to the top, but guess what? Now at the bottom he's taking damage.
Very, very good moves here by IA, just really stretching Kane thin, but still commendations to Kane to try and keep himself in this. He sees the stream of Roaches moving up towards the top, though. He's got to be a little bit fearful of this, as all the Overlords have revealed it. How much can he have in support for this? It's 84 army supply against 68 at the moment, and the Roach numbers now are definitely thinning for Kane.
Yeah, Kane's supply is starting to drop. IA seems to be finding just this slight timing of weakness just before the Roach reinforcements get there, and IA is shoving in and capitalizing on it.
There you go, GG. IA will take game at number 1. From Goopy +2 to Goopy Lava at the end there. And, you know, being able to actually lock down and contaminate those hatcheries in Zerg versus Zerg is actually very important when you deny the production of lava for about 40 seconds or so.
Oh, it's actually huge. I mean, you could see, because the pressure Kane was under, he was missing a couple of injects here or there, which literally every player in the world would in that situation. And not only that, you know, it's hard to keep your production absolutely constant when you've got these Roaches maneuvering like that. And this is one of these features. I mean, it's one of the new maps, Bridgehead. There's 2 main avenues for attack, and it's not something which players have a lot of experience with in StarCraft II. It's really the first time we've seen it in the StarCraft II map pool is with Bridgehead and Moonlight Madness, and it's so difficult if you get on the back foot in those Roach Wars, and you can just see Kane there sweating a little bit. The pressure of trying to defend in that position for so long has got to get to you.
It's definitely on right now. iAsonu is doing well with his Roach control, and our second game here very soon will be on the way. As iAsonu, obviously he wants himself to get into a position where he can try and push on through this group. It's still a strong group though, still a powerful group, and Terraform will be our next map here. Pig, what do you make of it here for Zerg versus Zerg?
Well, this is Kane's pick, so let's keep that in mind. And it's actually a fantastic map for 9-pool. We saw him execute a really typical 9-pool into Zergling speed pressure earlier, but it didn't work out because it was against the safest build in the book. But that could be an option which he goes for. Just generally, though, if he feels like playing Roach Wars, this is a map where you can wall off at the natural, you can go gasless. So there's a lot of options open to Kane, but what you want to identify is, yeah, it's good for 9-pool, but other than that, it's very standard, it's 2 players, it's very reliable. And if we think back to their vetoes, we've seen IA kind of veto some of the more standard maps like Coda, whereas Kane vetoed some of the crazier maps like, I believe, Iron Fortress. So, I mean, maybe we're going to see that come into play here, where IA goes for something a bit more aggressive himself.
Kane is in last chance saloon now here for game number 2 in this best of 3. As he tries to scramble on back against iAsonu. Looks good there in that Roach versus Roach war. And up to the top left-hand corner, we do have our blue Zerg from Canada. It is Kane.
Looking to reclaim some of his pride after those losses. You know, he felt he got very unlucky in that first series. And he really wanted to bring it back, and he said his family's watching at home right now. They want to see him do well, and you know, I've played Kane many times. He's stolen many of my ladder points, but first of all, he has to make it through his opponent over here. It is iAsonu.
Definitely showing strong Zerg versus Zerg, and might be able to rival Zanster later on if it does come down to that. But we shall find out soon. Obviously, we have the qualifying match coming up next after this.
Zanster or 4GG, yeah, depending who, of course, goes into the final match. Of course, the player who wins this match goes through to the final deciding match to see who will take second place in the group a bit later on tonight. And for now, we've seen both players. Neither of them wants to risk going for that 9-pool. Now, you can't blame Kane here for taking the safer route. He's 1 game away from elimination. No one wants to take a sort of risky, aggressive opening when they're down. And you can see both players actually playing very conservative, going for 15 spawning pool opening. This is pretty much the safest one in the book.
Yeah, neither player having seen like a second Overlord just yet means that they don't necessarily know the exact timing on if there was something crazy aggressive coming to hit them. With the second Overlords now just about to bypass forwards here. So iAsonu will get the read, whereas Kane not so much. He's sending his first Overlord right over to the natural.
That's actually a really good point. So it already gives IA that sort of sense of ease because he sees the second Overlord and he's, oh, you built a 9 Overlord. There's definitely nothing coming. That's cool. Of course, Kane does see with his Overlord that no Lings are coming across, so he might feel comfortable anyway. Either way, both players building that Overlord on 14, very safe, and we are going to just see Queen and a pair of scouting Zerglings from each. So very typical openings. And what I really like to see this because what it kind of speaks to the players' mindsets.
Yes.
It tells you these guys want to get to that mid-game phase. They don't want to try anything too crazy gambling in the early game to rush up an early lead. They feel very confident that if they're just in an even situation, they can take on their opponent toe-to-toe.
I mean, I've got to ask you, Pig, I've got to pick your brains on this one. If Kane hadn't have opened up with all of those Zerglings not really getting much accomplished and then gone into the mid-game level pegging with iAsonu, surely he would have stood a better chance to not eventually get torn apart on all their angles, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit of an odd choice for the map by Kane, but it definitely put him at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Now we see a bit of Zergling skirmish in the middle of the map. I like IA. He really wants to save this low hit point Zergling. Oh, Kane though. Kane's always so good at these little 2 Zergling skirmishes at the start of the game. I find he beats almost every player at it and just gets a very nice trade-off there. And this puts a little bit more pressure on IA, and it kind of makes Kane feel comfortable because he knows those Zerglings aren't going to be able to get across the map to scout him for a long time.
Yeah, they're going to have to loop on around here. One Zergling will go down. The drone, will he? No, he will not go for the nibble. But the Queen will come out and be able to shut that down as well. So no scout towards the back.
But he did see a creep tumor going down. So knowing Kane, I mean, he's going to recognize that and he's going to say, this is almost certainly a gas, like a sort of roach-based opening, more like defensive. Because if you're getting those creep tumors down straight away, you're probably going for that fast third Queen, which indeed IA is. And while IA is getting a Zergling speed, it's a pretty slow Zergling speed. So Kane's probably going to feel quite safe having seen that early creep tumor.
That's true. That is very, very true. And the kind of insight that we get when we have you here, Pig, thank you very much, as we do obviously now see him walling off little chunks of the front there with that evolution chamber, which will leave him in an even better defensive position here, iAsonu. Also just getting that creep on that forward nicely. We'll give him a good heads up, obviously with the overlords that he has over there as well. He must have seen the roach going over towards the third. Sorry, the drone. The drone
heading to the third. Yeah, I believe he knows about that. Interestingly, IA is keeping his Ling speed upgrading, so he might actually decide to keep it this game, go for some Zergling pressure. And meanwhile, Kane himself is adding his own lair, Roach Warren and Evo Chamber. So both players heading to a very similar position. The real difference is that Kane is really feeling like he can stretch out his advantage, knowing that he's up against a more gasless focused Roach opening, or feeling that way, he's going for that fast third. But look at that production tab. IA playing the mind game and actually massing out the Zerglings. Yeah, he's going to head to Roaches, but not just yet. Kane actually, with his Overlord, has spotted the lack of gases on the natural. That in itself is a tell. And we can see Zerglings starting up on the production tab for Kane, but also a few drones. Feels like Kane hasn't made the confident read just yet.
Oof, that is a lot of extra Overlords being produced here for iAsonu. And these Zerglings just darting on past here at the moment. A few Roaches are in production here for Kane, but it might not be enough defense here. This is a lot of Zerglings.
He only just sees it then. The tiny gap in his vision that his Zerglings somehow missed. This is not Kane's day. These Zerglings getting in and doing massive damage. A Queen already going down. The other Queen getting surrounded at the top. The Zerglings just dying as they pop out. I mean, his drone's micro is being good so far, but there's still so many Lings here.
Yeah, that Queen was moved back to a position where the Zerglings couldn't easily get the wraparound on it. It's going to send out a few more units over the way. He actually goes back to some drone production there for a moment, knowing that he's done quite a bit of damage himself. Gets himself 4 workers or so, but still, there is a lead here. 37 workers against 32. Kane, for all intents and purposes, did pretty well against that.
He kept most of the drones alive, so you're absolutely right. Even though he lost one of his 2 Queens, that's important. Oh, here's going to be a bit of follow-up damage from IA, though. You know, it hasn't ended just yet. Oh, the Zerglings from Kane coming in now. Looks like they will be able to wrap around and clean this up. And now Kane's feeling a lot more confident. Already drones starting up in his production tab. He's going to take advantage of that faster third base. And remember, there's still no third base even started for IA. The Roach speed's already a third of the way done. Even though it looked like that was a nightmare situation for Kane, he stayed cool under pressure, kept the drones alive, and now he's actually looking really good.
Yeah, the drone, as you say, only just now starting that third base is a bit of a thorn in IA's side. as he will have to go up against Kane, who has +1 almost done, has his Roach speed almost done. Did iAsonu ever go for his Roach speed, or did he not even complete
his lair is only just about to finish?
Ouch.
IA committed so much to that Speedling build because he was trying to sell the idea of the Roach build by putting down the fast Evos and Roach Warren, but that actually slowed his economy down. It made his attack even more, I've got to get damage done. And he only got a little nick of damage done, a queen and 4 drones, and other than that, Kane cleans up. And so now Kane is in such a confident position. Look at this. Overseer has seen everything. Ooh, very nice snipe down. IA's queen killing it. That's a nice win for him. No gooping going to happen from Kane's side.
No.
But Kane sees how late the third is. He sees he's got the Roach speed in +1, well ahead of IA, at least in the Roach speed department, and he's going to push across and exert his advantage. He wants to shut down IA's third and just put himself in an insurmountable lead.
IA was trying to scramble there to break down those rocks to buy himself some time. Not going to be working though, as these Roaches already get on through. The transfuses go down onto the Queens here for IA to try and save them, but the army supply is significantly in advantage of Kane at the moment, and he will push on to kill off a lot of these Roaches. The Roaches, likewise, having Roach speed alone allowed him to just push up against this so fast, with IA trying to scramble back to the choke point that he has, and that is going to be so much damage done here for Kane.
Those Roaches just going straight between that Evo and Roach Warren, just headbutting their way through. Kane has sensed weakness. He has capitalized with it. That beautiful links around when he first moved in. Oh, this is just a great attack for Kane. The drones are off the line. So many of them going down. And Kane has a mining third base behind this. This was a masterful attack from Kane off the back of a very sick defense. He is just in a great position.
Yeah, really good stuff. With the Roaches being rallied forwards as well here. Actually being a little bit sloppy, but so he doesn't want that to happen, but he still has a massive advantage.
Just making a little bit of a sacrifice there. IA getting annoyed with his own evolution chamber by the looks of it, and actually knocking it down there, I believe. I don't think that was Kane's Roach killing it. And does clear out his wall, but Kane's in a great spot now. You know, IA is going to hang on. He doesn't want to give away any easy wins. He wants to hang on, see if he can use that defender's advantage. Maybe break the rocks down this time around, set up a nice concave, and maybe, just maybe, he can hang on with a good Roach defense.
I think he's almost waiting for them to come along and then we'll break it down. This is quite the ambitious little move. Oh, he's actually just going to do it himself and then start breaking them down again. So, why on earth not?
Deny the ability for IA to actually crash it down as he's attacking through later on.
Yeah.
Kane's just taking his time right now, making sure his macro is on point, and look at the production tab. I mean, +2 is about to kick in. Kane is waiting for that +2. He knows at that point they're going to be on upgrade parity, but he's going to have such a Roach lead, and that's when he wants to make the fight happen.
Yeah, why on earth not? It's 42 Roaches against 29 at the moment. Kane is just going to move all the way up to the top here. There are overlords 2 spots, so IA has already taken slight precautions, but will those precautions even matter? Are you going to be wearing that glove of paper when you take that tray out of the oven? It's still not going to work, regardless of what that paper glove is. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think the meal's going to turn out too nicely here for IA. That is just a lot of Roaches from Kane, and he's just coming in with this huge concave, denying the ability for IA to choke up his army. And IA, he's got a great defense. He's rallying Roaches out, but this is a numbers game, and he is simply being overwhelmed.
His hands got burnt. It's got very burnt, and that is going to be a lot of Roaches going down with this third base completely under siege. GG, game number 2 goes to Kane, and he will tie up the elimination match 1-1.
Yes, you can see that relief on his face.
Oh my God.
Kane playing it up a little bit there, having a little bit of a laugh. And I mean, you know, he is actually, that's genuine relief on his face, it is, because there was that moment when those, you know, those lings flooded out just outside of his Zergling vision. His Zerglings were moving specifically to plug the gap in his Overlord's vision.
Yeah.
And then somehow IA's lings just snuck right past. Wasn't until they were at his base that he saw them. Still somehow hung on, deflected the attack, and just countered and just destroyed him. And you got to feel good after that game. No 0-4 today for Kane.
No, definitely not. He gets himself a map under his belt, and we do see a little bit of concern there on IA's face. We're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, we'll see if that man can make it on here at the World Championship Series. One last game decides if Kane will keep himself here in the World Championship Series Premier League in the elimination match. Likewise, iAsonu on the other side of these desks will try and keep himself alive as well. It's now down to the wire here, Pig. Down to the wire.
It's such an important match. Neither of these players wants to go out last place in their group, but the winner of this match continues to the decider. The loser does go out, and we are going to be going to Dash and Terminal. Bit of a crazy map, not one you see that often. However, because this is Zerg versus Zerg, look at how close those bases are flying distance. The Overlords get there very early, and they do see what each other's doing. Now, because of that, it's very popular for players to play very greedy. They figure, I'll see things that are coming. But as a counter to that, we sometimes do see some 10-pool Baneling openings. So those are the sort of ideas running through these guys' heads. Do I play very middle of the road? I mean, they're both one game away from elimination. Or do you take liberties? Do you say, I think he's going to be greedy, I'm going to go for the all-in? Or do I just play greedy myself? And there's always those options open in Zerg vs. Zerg, but on this map, it's even highlighted more because, I mean, you're going to see each other pretty early on, so you need to be very decisive in the direction you're going.
Let's get into it then. Game number 3 to decide who is eliminated here in Group F. As we have spawned down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our Blue Zerg. Representing Canada, it's Kane.
Looking very G'd up after that win. You know, Kane wants to do well here, and he definitely can, but he does have to get through the representative from China, the player who's risen to prominence in the top of the Chinese scene this year. It is IG's IA. He's been getting better and better the longer he plays this game. He's still very young, but IA, he just is so calm, so intelligent in the way he plays.
Drones for these guys at the moment. Kane pulling the good old extractor trick.
The old, I was, you know, making some faces on camera, and I forgot to build my Nine Overlord. Of course, some players actually prefer that. You know, Life, obviously one of the best Zergs in the world, does that almost every game. But, you know, both players going to open up here. No early pool option just yet. And thinking about this map in other general terms, something that can come into play later on is when you're looking at a 4th base, some players actually do take the gold. It's not very common, but there is a gold base kind of below the mains of each player, as well as down in the middle of the map, below the watchtower, as Funk is showing us. And those can come into play a bit later on. Also, there's a lot of attack avenues. There's a lot of paths, even when you're on your 3 bases. But because your bases are very close together, you can still defend quite well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scary map. I won't know that one thing is for sure. When Zerg's going up against Protoss, for example, Mutalisks can be extremely annoying because it's kind of awkward to transition between all the bases. Is there anything like that in Zerg versus Zerg that can hurt a Zerg here?
Well, I think Mutas are great here. I mean, it's a fast rush distance, and you've got all that dead space, and like you said, it's hard to get between the buildings and the bases to defend. Interestingly enough, we do see Kane opting for the greedier opening, going for the pool, the hatch first, into the gas on the pool. And of course, on the other side, IA looks like he's very confident to keep on playing his middle of the road pool first opening. He feels like he can just take it on in a standard game. Yeah, maybe he's like slightly behind in his extra queen coming out, or his, you know, his drones, but this is a very strong play for both players. Just Kane taking that slight economic edge.
And one thing's for sure though, if you are a little bit newer to StarCraft, this is one of the crazier maps we've ever had in map pools. If we just take a quick look at a natural base, for example, usually naturals have one entrance, maybe 2 entrances to them, but there is this huge one to the front. We have one to the back as well that can be blocked off by some races. And then obviously we have this destructible rocks at the front. So lots of attack angles into naturals that you don't commonly see on StarCraft maps.
Oh yeah, Tunneling Claw Roach is pretty popular here, and we've seen both these guys do enjoy the mass roach sort of style, so something we could come into play a bit later on. Ooh, a very fast Baneling nest coming out here from Kane, actually. Could could be for a bit of aggression, maybe just playing a little bit safe himself. I mean, looking at the scouting information, Kane did spot the gas timing of IA, saw that it wasn't particularly early, so I'm inclined to think maybe looking to do some aggression. And look, Kane sending 4 Lings across the map. Now, keep in mind that back door. If you sneak in Banelings through the back door while attacking the front to distract them, that's a very powerful move, and it looks like Kane may be getting ready to do that a little bit later on.
The Queen and Zerglings are already posturing, though, to deny that, which is smart of them. Notice as well the Baneling nest positions by both of these players, so that the Queens can tuck themselves in between the Baneling nest and the hatcheries, just in case they were to get wrapped around by Zerglings. Limit the surface area on them.
Of course, one issue, though, is that mineral line is always so exposed. You know, it's so far to the front of the base, and it's close to the back door. So Kane here is going for the aggression. He's saying, I'm going to drone behind this. This isn't an all-in, but you are going to have a lot of pressure on you very fast. And IA's Baneling nest isn't even finished. It just finishes now. Kane's Banelings have already finished morphing. IA positioning his Queens to the back. He knows he needs to slow those Banelings down from getting in here. His spine has finished, which makes things harder for Kane, but there's a lot of pressure on IA right now. He can't afford to lose drones.
He's going to try and defend as best as possible here. 2 Banelings waddle onto the back here behind all of this. And that's it. They get quite a lot of Zergling kills there to start things, but he still has a lot of Banelings in tow to help him out and be able to push this away without taking too many drone deaths.
Yeah, not too bad a trade for IA. I mean, he lost quite a few Zerglings, especially one of those, the first Baneling that exploded, killed a lot, but now it is relatively even. But Kane is keeping the pressure on. He has the scouting information. He's got space behind this, and he is taking a small drone lead while rushing into that lair. So it looks like there's a good chance we'll see a Muta follow up.
Also understands the severity of a potential counter-attack with the Spine Crawler going down at the front just to negate any kind of Banelings that would try and hit him. The Overlord, whoa, those Zerglings just decided to go on a tour of Kane World. They got in easy peasy. Didn't need to buy a ticket at all.
Oh, and it is actually Roach Tech out of Kane. IA sees that now. He feels confident that, okay, I don't need to worry about Mutalisks. Kane defending with the Banelings in the spine. It looks like it's IA's turn to sneak some Banelings around the back door. Such a powerful move on this map, and it looks like Kane, not sure if he has Overlord vision back there, actually. Looks like he doesn't, but he's anticipated the maneuver. His Baneling's going to be there to defend.
2 for 3. Not bad technically for iAsonu, but in the end, Kane could have lost a whole lot more. So it's a willing sacrifice that needed to be made.
Yeah, and I mean, this game, it looks like both players are going to be going into the mid-game on a bit of a more even footing. IA, though, a little bit of a supply lead, up about 7 drones right now, and that is going to give him a slight edge in that regard. But Kane, on the other hand, has the faster Roach speed and a slight lead on his +1. So Kane's going to have the mobility advantage this game around, but IA is just going to have a bit more economy and a bit more unit count.
Trying to buy himself more time here with these Lings, just going for this attack, and the 2 Banelings there. One nice little micro by iAsonu. Really well done there. Trading 1 Ling for 1 Baneling alone.
Nice pressure from IA. After that early pressure that he absorbed and defended, quite reasonably, he has been putting more pressure on Kane, keeping him on his side of the map. Now it's Kane's turn to push back over and try to keep IA in check. Make sure you're not droning too crazy. He sees that some roaches are out, so he's like, oh, okay, you're not going too crazy on the drones. But keep in mind, if we look at IA's third base, he's actually already up about 7 drones, and his natural and main actually have higher saturation than Kane's. So it's a little bit subtle, but he has been mining a little bit more throughout these stages than Kane has.
We'll see how he's going to be able to fare as these Lings, once again, look to... I mean, they could get themselves a Queen kill and a few drones. That'd be fantastic for them. There are some reinforcing units coming along, but even just a drone's not too bad for that many Zerglings that managed to get away. So, good moves from IA.
IA continuing to push his drone edge, going up to 57 drones right now. That's actually really big. Going for that double Evo chamber play as well. Kane's just lagging behind a little bit in that economy, and IA starting to push those leads ahead. Are we going to see a repeat of Bridgehead Game 1, where IA just muscled him out with superior numbers? It's going to get trickier and trickier if Kane doesn't catch up, and I mean, he's only just closed that drone count now.
Well, that's he's already poked in there, had a look at the saturation towards that third base, and we'll try and account for it. IA seems to constantly keep getting his carapace a little bit earlier than Kane in these fights. And in a Roach versus Roach war, when you've got same weapons upgrades, but that carapace, how much is that making a difference here for IA?
A single carapace doesn't make the hugest difference in the world, but when you are looking at like 50 roaches versus 50 roaches, it does kick in. It does make it change. And oh, sneaky little pair of Banelings morphed here by IA. If Kane doesn't see this, this could actually kill a lot of his drones. drones. Oh, such a nice maneuver from IA. Only gets 3 drones on a Zergling, but great attempt. And even 2 Lings at the same time, trying to kill a rallying drone. Just tiny moves here from IA, but he's not only getting scouting, he's just making Kane feel the pressure. He's putting Kane on the back foot mentally.
Yeah, that little Zergling alone is very, very irritating. Even having to just pull a few drones there to kill that off. But he gets... Oh, almost got a drone. Almost. So, not the hugest of deals, but a bit of an annoyance. 104 army supply against 79 at the moment. With Tunneling Claws already on the way, as well as Burrow here from Kane. So really trying to start deviate up his potential. This kind of feels like game 1, but being a little bit more level pegging, with IA slightly in the lead.
Yeah, a little bit. And the scary thing right now is that Kane's still adding drones. Ooh. IA rushed up to 57, 58 drones very early, and then has non-stop been building roaches. Kane on the other side kind of built his drones later, and he just kept adding them and adding them. And this huge roach push out, it's a big army. Kane's army is just so much smaller than this now.
He contaminated the +2. So right now, this +2 weapons gap is going to be big here. And that is exactly what AI is claiming for. He is looking to try and push in from both angles while the +2 is just about to finish up. Burrow's about to complete here for Kane, though.
He only has about a 20-second lead on the +2, so fighting now might actually be like the right idea for IA. Coming in from both sides, trying to establish that concave, but good positioning from Kane so far, keeping those choke points held up.
6 seconds, 5 seconds on these upgrades, just about to finish up here for IA. Is he going to be able to do something with this? Because right now he does have that weapons advantage here with these roaches now pushing forward on both of these fronts. He might be able to make a big, big difference here, my AI, as he has 120 army supply against 92. This is his window to try and do something. +2 weapons finished up for Kane, but is it early enough here, as it's 40 roaches against 19 at the moment? AI might have just been able to conquer this position.
Oh, IA found his timing beautifully there. He just came in right then. The upgrade wasn't done for Kane, and Kane just had less roaches. He's pulling drones. He just doesn't have that critical number. He's forced out of that game.
GG, IA will live on to fight another day, and when it comes down to it, a goopy +2 doesn't work out.
Oh, no. I mean, Kane was trying to play a little bit more defensive, and when your +2 gets gooped like that, it makes all the difference, because you're really trying to push your lead. But IA is so calm, so confident. I thought he was in a bit of trouble with the Baneling pressure at the start, but he cleaned that up with great queen positioning, some good Zergling reactions, and IA just played very well throughout that series.
I mean, the killer instinct as well, to find that small weakness, that hole, being able to get that contaminate down and slow it down, hitting that timing when he did. That's a very finite little window that you were able to find there, and he hit it beautifully from both sides as well. Orchestrated that really well.
I like how he kept going in from one side and pulling back, going in, pulling back, and it almost felt like he was able to exert a calmness and a superiority of mechanics there. IA, with the way, rather than just coming into the 2 concaves which Kane split up, he'd go in, start the fight, and then he'd pull back. So Kane, if he doesn't control his units, they'd kind of clump into the choke point. And IA just kept doing that over and over, and it puts so much pressure on the defensive player, because if the defensive player has just as many units or more than you, they've got equal upgrades, they can kind of punish you for these moves. They can just get on top of half your army. But in the situation Kane was in, he had to just keep defending. I mean, you can see he's got a bit of a big smile on his face. Kane takes it always on the chin. He comes in here just looking to have fun.
Yeah, he does. And I'm sure, later on down the line, as he's kind of in the semi-retired state or whatever, he'll continue to try and qualify for the World Championship Series, maybe into 2016.
Yeah, Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, if he wants to continue.
It's going to be an exciting time. There's going to be a bit of a reset all around. So it's going to be a very exciting time. I think we're going to see a lot of old faces, as well as new ones that we've never heard of before, kind of popping up with the entirely new game that will be.
Yeah, because the entire speed of the game is changing for the most part, right?
Yeah, some of the changes at the moment, it's crazy pace, it's awesome. There's lots of different micro techniques and everything. But of course, right now everyone's still focused on HOTS for the moment. Everyone's still kind of got their mouse and keyboard down to that grindstone.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, I believe we're done here for the caster's desk, and we'll head over to the analysis one with Sean and the boys.
Thank you very much, Claris and Pig. Congratulations to iAsonu. He lives to fight another day in this group, and hopefully the Chinese dragon comes out breathing fire in the deciding match. But Todd, there was something outside the game that was tickling you from Pig and Claris.
Was there?
There was. Don't deny it now you're on camera. Now the spotlight's on.
Okay. I was complaining a little bit that they were calling him IA and eventually said AI quite a few times.
AI's over and over AI.
It's iAsonu. Actually, doesn't he want to be called IA?
I like IA. I think he doesn't mind IA, but I don't think he likes AI.
I don't think he should have a choice.
He's not a robot, man.
Yeah,
like,
I think we should be
a human being.
We should be the ones picking whatever we call him. We're the commentators. That's what we do, no?
Yeah, we'll just stick with iAsonu. Nice and easy. I know you like IA, but we'll iAsonu. A decent performance from the 22-year-olds, and he finds himself in a good position, and he looked good in that series. Kane delivered a good fight, though, no doubt.
Yeah, it was a 2-1 in the end, which we did predict, but the other way, sadly for us. And no, I mean. We always knew that he likes to make roaches, he likes to play pretty aggressive. He was probably going to be favoring him a little bit here going to this matchup against Kane, and in the end, it did barely. Like, Kane held on very nicely, and I feel like his performance with finishing last in this group really doesn't do justice to what he's capable to do, but sadly for him this time, that's how he's going to go. Yeah, for Kane.
Yeah, and, when are we going to see Kane again? He's
next
now
season,
eliminated from
after beating Huck 3-2 in the Challenger match.
Yeah, but next season's not till next year. It's a long way away now. So not too sure when we'll be able to see him again competing. But he's going to live the uni life, the student life. And, he's excited for that. We talked to him a little bit about it before. He's already started to go to the gym in preparation for that.
Yeah, it seems like I've got him on Snapchat. He's my bud on Snapchat. And he's already been enjoying the uni and student life.
You have a couple of Snapchats, have you, from Kane?
I've had a few. Yeah, we've exchanged a few. Nothing like...
You said that very intensely.
nothing too extreme, but yeah, we've shared a few. I like Kane. He's a good guy. He always brings that chilled, kind of laid back vibe towards to the competitions that he goes to. And even though he did lose now, we may not see him again. Obviously, the next WCS season is probably going to be Legacy of the Void, or it will be Legacy of the Void, and you're going to have to practice that a lot, and whether he'll practice that enough to get at that Premier kind of level, we're going to have to wait and see.
iAsonu could get 2 round of 16 performances back-to-back here if he's able to beat, the loser of either the next match, 4GG or Zanster. You think he has it within him to beat either side here?
No, I don't think so, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't believe in him?
Not at all.
We need some more propaganda for these kids. Really, why?
Wow, that's blunt.
The thing is, his style is sort of predictable, and even though he's got good injects and he makes a lot of units, I feel like if you're a top player, I don't think you should be losing to him as much. And to be honest, I feel like this about a lot of people. Even Haas, I feel like his style shouldn't be working, but then he kind of does. So maybe it's a little bit of the same with iAsonu. I don't think he's a bad player by any means. I just think that the other players in this group, in this case, Zanster and 4G, they should be a caliber above his. So unless something special happens, I don't think he should be able to beat them.
Brutal. Todd is brutal today. Thanks very much, gentlemen. It's time to get ready for that winners match to see which player is going through in first place, which player is going to the season finals in Poland. Which one's it going to be, 4GG or Zanster? When we come back, we'll find out.